Welcome to Geohistory Explained. Have you ever wondered why the Statue of Liberty was built and what it truly represents? In this explainer, we'll uncover the fascinating history, hidden symbolism, and incredible story behind one of the world's most iconic monuments. We're going to dive right into the fascinating cross-continental origins, the brilliant engineering, and the ever-evolving symbolism of Lady Liberty. Let's get started.
Okay, to kick things off, what exactly do the Eiffel Tower and the Statue of Liberty have in common? Seriously, take a second to think about it. Because the answer actually reveals this completely surprising connection between two of the most iconic structures on the planet.
Well, the answer is Alexandre Gustave Eiffel. Yeah, the very same man behind Paris's most famous tower was actually the one who engineered the internal skeleton of Lady Liberty. Pretty wild, right?
Section 1. The French Connection. So let's explore how this absolutely incredible monument actually started out as just an ambitious dinner party idea, right around the end of the American Civil War. You see, it was a French historian named Édouard de Laboulaye who had this grand vision for a joint symbol of democracy. Back in 1865, he proposed that France create a massive statue to gift to the US, basically celebrating their success in building a viable democracy. But you know how these massive projects go. Work didn't actually get off the ground until 1875 because, well, they desperately needed to raise the funds. Their original target? To have it completely ready for the 1876 U.S. Declaration of Independence Centennial. Now, they totally missed that deadline, but the grand vision itself, that definitely survived.
Creating a colossus like this required a pretty strict division of labor between the two nations. Basically, France hammered out the actual statue, engineered that complex framework, and handled the assembly. On the flip side, the United States was on the hook for designing the pedestal, providing the prime real estate at Fort Wood on Bedloes Island, and raising the final funds to get it over the finish line. It was a true joint effort, though it did require Americans like the famous newspaperman Joseph Pulitzer to step up and crowdfund the pedestal, which was designed by Richard Morris Hunt.
Now, what's really fascinating here are the personal and historical touches the sculptor, Frederick Auguste Bartholdi, managed to slip in. Get this, he actually modeled the statue's face after his own mother. And while we all casually call her the Statue of Liberty, the monument's official title is actually Statue of Liberty Enlightening the World. Plus, in her left hand, she holds a tablet deeply engraved with July 4, 1776, forever commemorating American independence. It's just this beautiful blend of a deeply personal tribute and grand international diplomacy.
A crucial thing to understand here is that she isn't just one giant, solid block of metal. No way. Bartholdi used a technique called repoussa. Essentially, this is the incredibly painstaking process of hammering large copper sheets from the inside to create the statue's outer skin. He shaped these massive, yet relatively thin copper sheets into the flowing robes and striking features we all recognize today. So she's actually a beautiful but entirely hollow copper shell.
Moving right along to Section 2, Engineering a Colossus. I mean, how exactly did they manage to keep this massive, hollow copper shell standing upright against all that harsh weather? Well, Eiffel and Eugène-Emmanuel Viollet-le-Duc had to come up with something truly revolutionary. Eiffel's brilliant internal skeleton wasn't just some stiff, rigid structure. Instead, it was built from an iron pylon and steel framework designed to allow that copper skin to move and flex independently. This flexibility was absolutely essential. Without it, the intense, whipping winds of upper New York Bay would have literally caused that rigid copper skin to just tear itself apart over time. Section 3. Assembly and Dedication. So, with the engineering finally solved, they were immediately faced with a complete logistical nightmare. How on earth do you get this massive structure all the way across the Atlantic Ocean? 200. That staggering number represents the exact amount of massive wooden crates it took to pack up the fully disassembled statue for her voyage aboard the French frigate Isère back in 1885. Can you even imagine that? It's literally like mapping out and boxing up a giant copper 3D puzzle.
Once she finally hit the shores of New York in June of 1885, it took a rapid, almost unbelievable effort to put her back together. Over the summer of 1886, workers spent 4 grueling months reassembling the statue on top of her newly finished pedestal. And finally, on October 28, 1886, President Grover Cleveland officially dedicated the monument in front of thousands of cheering spectators.
And when they were completely finished, the sheer scale of the thing was breathtaking. 305 feet.
She stood an awe-inspiring 305 feet, or 93 meters tall, measuring all the way from the base of the pedestal straight up to the very tip of the torch. To put that into perspective, at the time, she absolutely dominated the entire New York skyline.
Which brings us to Section 4, the Golden Door. You see, the statue's identity was about to shift dramatically just a few short years after she was built, taking on a role so much larger than just a friendly gift from France.
Right around 1892, a federal immigration station opened its doors on neighboring Ellis Island, and over the coming decades, it ended up processing a staggering 12 million immigrants. Because of her prime front and center location in the harbor, Lady Liberty was quite literally the very first thing these new arrivals saw. That sheer geographic proximity totally transformed the statue from a simple symbol of French-American friendship into this majestic, welcoming beacon for millions of people seeking a brand new life.
And we absolutely can't talk about this shift without mentioning Emma Lazarus. Back in 1883, she wrote a poem called The New Colossus that forever changed the statue's destiny. Just listen to these powerful words. Give me your tired, your poor, your huddled masses yearning to breathe free. I lift my lamp beside the golden door. That incredible poem was later engraved on a plaque right at the pedestal's entrance, and it completely cemented the statue's new role as the mother of exiles. It fundamentally changed how the whole world viewed the monument.
Section 5, a changing monument. So over the next century, this monument continued to both physically and symbolically evolve right alongside the nation it stood for.
Her official function actually shifted pretty drastically over the decades. Get this, from 1886 to 1901, she was actually operated by the U.S. Lighthouse Board as a literal navigational aid for sailors. Then in 1901, jurisdiction transferred over to the War Department simply because she was sitting right on an operational army post. By 1924, she was officially declared a national monument, and then in 1933, her care was finally transferred to the National Park Service. So she fully transitioned into the protective national treasure we know today.
But major world events definitely left their mark as well. For example, in July of 1916, during World War I, German operatives caused the Black Tom explosion on a nearby peninsula. This was a devastating act of sabotage that sent actual shrapnel flying straight into the statue, and it permanently halted all public access to the original torch. It was a stark reminder of how global conflicts could reach right to her shores.
Now, for those of you who might be wondering why she isn't a shiny, penny-colored copper anymore, well, the answer is verdigris. It's that distinctive sea-foam green color that results from the natural oxidation of copper when it's exposed to rain, wind, and sun year after year. By the early 20th century, this entirely natural chemical process had permanently given Lady Liberty her iconic green wardrobe. No paint required.
Tracing her modern history, we really see a massive, renewed commitment to preserving her. In 1956, Bedloe's Island was officially renamed Liberty Island. By 1984, time and the harsh marine elements had really taken their toll, so a massive centennial restoration project kicked off, which, by the way, was the exact same year the UN designated her a World Heritage Site. Finally, on July 5, 1986, the beautifully, painstakingly restored Statue of Liberty reopened to a totally jubilant public.
Even in modern times, the statue continues to be deeply intertwined with the resilience of the nation. Following the September 11, 2001 terrorist attacks, Liberty Island was completely closed for 100 days, but she endured. Pedestal access was safely reopened in August 2004, and crown access eventually reopened to the public in July 2009. She remains the steadfast, unwavering symbol standing watch over the harbor.
So, to wrap things up today, I want to leave you with this somewhat provocative thought. As the Statue of Liberty's meaning evolved from a simple gift of friendship to a truly global beacon, what landmark will define our next century of freedom? It's really fascinating to think about how our symbols evolve over time and what new monuments might capture the spirit of our future. If you enjoyed this explainer, don't forget to like, subscribe, and turn on the notification bell for more amazing geography and history stories. See you in the next explainer.